This is Sue Greenwald with Awakened Stories here today with the real slash original slash only John F. Kennedy Jr. Hey, John, how are you?
I am doing awesome. It's always a good day when I'm being able to chat with you.
Yeah. I'm so glad we're able to talk. And of course, we usually talk a little bit before and after the show, and just for fun, whatever's happening in our lives. And before I get started, I want to talk about the book. If you'll, everything we talk about is based on this book, Stolen Identity by John Kennedy Jr. This book is a life-changing book. This is the biggest story to hit the world. Well, I'm not going to say I'm going to put it in maybe the top two. Because there's another story out there that might be bigger. But this is a huge story that impacts every one of us. We've been lied to by our governments. We've been lied to by every large corporation. Every industry has been corrupted. And we talked at length about that the last video we did. We just kind of, busted on everyone, didn't we? Which is a little fun and it felt a little negative because I think most of them are going to be changing or going down pretty soon. But um, we want to put out like more interesting things rather than complain, right?
Yeah, you just mentioned that. I had a comment from a gal. I made a video, and in my video, I held up my book and I said, what am I about? I said I'm about God, family, and country. And then I said, and this is the most important book you can read.
Yeah.
And right away, I got a comment from somebody said, no, the Bible's the most important book you can read.
Yeah.
And I thought about it for a while, and I was going to apologize to her because she said she had read my book twice and everything. And then I was thinking about it, um, and I was thinking, Jesus, government hung Jesus on the cross by the book, and I was thinking, I'm exposing the worst criminals in the world. I'm exposing the takeover of the United States of America and other countries by these same criminals that have no problem killing children. These people that have been planted maybe by other countries, stealing their identity, killing and stealing their identity. And what's the end game? Could it be the invasion of the United States of America in their end game after they keep putting all these criminals in place and in power? And then I thought, no, this is the most important book you could read because this could save millions and millions of lives if we can clean up the criminals that are in our government now and start doing something about all the murders and identity theft. So I didn't apologize.
You don't need to apologize. This is a huge story. You have gone through this. This is not fiction. It's not something that was written thousands of years ago. This has happened in the past 60 years to you personally. So the stories in the book are heart-wrenching. And like I said, I cried my eyes out the first time I read it, but it's important to know what is happening behind the scenes. We've been taught since we've been little that this is the strongest, the best, the most honest, the blah, blah, blah country on earth. None of that's true. We've
No,
been bamboozled.
um, it's people are so programmed into thinking it
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
but it is turned into a regime, a brutal regime. You see the regimes in Russia. You know, um, Russia has one of the most brutal mafias in the world, and we're no better. I can't stress enough. My sister murdered, the children I seen murdered just because of the bloodlines. Um, they murdered my family. They replaced me. They probably thought I was dead. This is organized crime to place their bloodlines in so their bloodlines can live the life of luxury and wealth and they don't have problems killing children. It's huge, but no, the United States government has um, turned into one piece of shit.
Well, one thing that I have learned since, knowing you and talking to you, recently was why they do much of what they do. Now, they are satanic and they do their rituals and this and that, all the evil stuff, but they basically go into businesses or, even private individuals that have, influence, money, power, whatever it might be. They take their identity, they put their double in there, they drain their resources, they, do whatever agenda they have. And it costs them nothing. So they,
That's their big money maker. A few years ago, they were it was all over the news and everything. Yeah, there's no organized crime. It's all gone. No, they're making so much money on their pre-planned first-degree murder and identity theft.
right,
Um, they're extremely greedy, and I'm concerned about the future of our country with these
right,
greedy people.
right. Yeah, it's shocking. So we're those that watch this video, we've been in agreement that there is corruption in the government. All the major corporations, every industry has corruption. Our food is poison, air, water, poison. Like nothing is done really for the health and well-being of the people, the common man. It's done for, certain individuals to gain wealth, power, control, whatever it might be, whatever the agenda might be. And so those that are waking up are starting to see that if they look around at the news or the way the laws are or the way things work, and they're saying, hey, this can't be right. This can't be right. So they're starting to see it out there. And that's, I think, part of what we're doing here now is laying a foundation for these people to, awake and see what's happening.
Yeah, and with that said, Sue, I'm planning a motorbike ride from coast to coast. I want to end up in Arlington, Virginia. But I've been asking people if they agree with us that our government is a crime ring, our criminals, please send me a letter. I think there's a post office box on your on the
Yep.
site here.
Yep.
But yeah, it's I'll say it again here. It's post office box 21552, Bullhead City, Arizona 86439. I really, with all my heart, I wanted to show up at my father's grave on the 4th of July. That's not going to happen
Right. Right.
due to resources, and I want to have a million letters. We're taking off, we're getting bigger, but I checked my post office box the other day, and I had two letters in there. Um, it was really heartbreaking because I've been sharing. Um, we're hindered and blocked on the internet,
Right.
but I
Censorship.
know there's a lot more people that want to free this country, and that's my way of doing it. The Q plan and all these other Gen X, they don't have a plan. They say, yeah, we're going to take our country back. They don't have a plan. I have a plan, and my plan is let's declare our government criminals. I'm John Kennedy. Right here, they stole my identity. They're covering me up to this day. It is so huge. Um, it should make world news, and if we can make world news
Right.
doing it,
Right.
we can expose all the criminals that have done this to me. They don't want to expose the criminals that took out my family members, my sister, my mother, my mother's side of the family, my father's side of the family. That's people in government that did that. That's people in government that are covering this story up to this day. And we can expose them with a simple letter. Come sign my trailer, whatever we got to do. But we need, if people are really serious about making this country a better place, it only takes a pen and a stamp. That's it. And we can
Right.
do it. We
Right.
can do it.
I think the thing that activates people the most is when we talk about the voting system now. Like we're going into an election season. All right. So we've got two choices on the table, both bad. Both bad, right? The system is corrupted. Okay. They've already chosen the president. They've already
Selected, not
chosen
elected.
selected, not elected. It's true. So both are
I'm a
bad choices.
personal, I am a personal eyewitness to this, and Barack Obama is uh, my testimony. I was told Barack Obama was going to be our president, and this was years before he became president.
Right.
I was told, John, you think he'd make a good president? And I was like, he would probably make a good president. And then I got to nod of my head, said, we're going to make him president. And he became president. That's the power our shadow government has. Um, they're the ones telling these people what to do.
Right. Right. Now, you had told us on a previous video that you did on your channel that you saw Barack Obama under MK Ultra. Is that true?
I believe he was. I don't
Yeah.
know if I said it in a video, but
Yeah.
yeah, they're controlled. Bill
Yeah.
Clinton's been under MK
Yeah.
Ultra. George Bush has been under MK Ultra because I've been there. I've seen it, and I was under MK Ultra myself. But that's our shadow government. Um, they get these people when they're young. They build them up. Our shadow government is more organized than people can even imagine.
Totally.
It's
Totally.
all planned. It's all in their books. But that's what you know. Um, I have many examples going through my head that I could say.
Right.
But even Wayne stood out in the background and just watched. Um, they're watchers. They pay attention to what's going on. Um, their figureheads say.
Right.
Um, one example, this lady that I work for at the phone company. Um, she ran a phone company. We became friends, and I worked for her. I fed her cows and things, but the people behind the scene, the organized crime, were the ones telling her what to do. This was big into the Masons and the secret cults and all that, but
Right.
um,
Right.
they sit back, they watch. It's a shadow government. Um, Wayne even gave me a book on past emperors, and it showed all the past emperors of Rome and every other thing, and how they were killed, how long their reign of power was before they were killed. And I wish I had that book to this day. I'm going to have to find me another one because he gave me that book. But some of these emperors were emperors for a month, some of them for 6 months before they were killed by the people. So, they were put in as emperor and then boom, they were killed because they weren't doing the right job. They were drugged through the streets. There was a few that were emperors for 20 years or until their death. But the majority of the rulers back then didn't last long if they, you know, did
Yeah.
people wrong.
I think what you're saying is our people are apathetic now, and they either don't care or they don't know what to do. They feel hopeless, hopeless and helpless. They don't
I,
know what to do.
I think a lot of it's pre-programming. I really do.
Of
Through
course.
television, the news media,
Right.
the movies, what you see on TV. Hollywood is big time into the takeover of our government and working with our government against us.
Right.
The best way for me to describe it is Black Sabbath's video, War Pigs, and the control the government has on us turns us into zombies where we just go to the production line and stamp out what we have to do and then go home. And if we don't go with their program, we're just eliminated.
Right.
But us poor people, we have to live in poverty. I see so many videos of Oakland, San Francisco, LA, of the homeless, and it is getting so bad. Um, it's not so much we can help these people, but the rich, the extremely wealthy, it's the middle class, so they've been taking out the rich and the wealthy, replacing them to steal all their funds. But the middle class, they're like, they go to work 9 to 5, they're happy, they're making a halfway decent salary. Um, it could happen so quick to them though. They could
I don't
be.
know if that's even true anymore because the price of everything has gone up, 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 doubled, whatever. I think the average middle class person is feeling very stretched thin and stressed out by the economics. And like I don't think there's a lot of luxury or disposable income anymore, that they just feel very tight with money.
Well,
Food's going down. Yeah.
after 2013, when they killed me in the hospital, I had lived in total poverty since 2013. Probably more since it was 2011 when I had my store, my little art store. But after that, I had lived in poverty. And then I met Robin, and she took me out to some fast food places and some restaurants. And I was like, what the hell? You know,
Price wise, you
back,
mean? Price wise?
yeah, back then, you could get a meal for under $5. And now the same meal, because I hadn't been able to afford to go to McDonald's or Burger King or Taco Bell. I couldn't go to any of those. I didn't have the money. I was in poverty. And then she started taking me to these places and was like, $50 for two sub sandwiches? What the hell? Yeah, we went to the sub place, and she got the subs, and I went over and got us a milkshake, I believe, from the Dairy Queen next door or whatever. But we added up; it was over $50 for two milkshakes and two sub sandwiches. And I was like, how can people afford this?
They can't. But see, the thing is, a lot of people don't know how to take care of themselves anymore. Okay, their mothers have worked, the fathers have worked. There's been no teaching and nothing going on in the household on how to take care of yourself, how to, do all the stuff we learned. Well, all right, you're probably in a different category. I learned as a child, okay? I know how to do pretty much everything to run a household, which I've passed along to my kids. But the average person doesn't know how to cook. They don't know how to run a household or do stuff efficiently. And so they have to go out and spend their money on oil changes or food, prepared food or whatever. It's outrageously pricey and it's only going up. So I think the average family, they don't know what to do. They're just trying to hold on, you know? They don't know
Yeah,
what the answer
it's
is. And even with you, I'm not sure what the answer is. Does getting a million letters, although it's a super fun project, what good is that going to do? Because the guys that are in government now are corrupt. They don't care how many letters you have, right? Don't you think?
well, the thing is bringing it out on the mainstream. I want the biggest photo op, and I'm not gonna lie, I want a photo op. When
Yeah.
I was a kid, everything was a photo op. You see hundreds, I mean, you see thousands of photos of me as a child. They're all of
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Um, People need to pay attention, but they don't. I was kidnapped. I was replaced at 10 years old. The
Yeah.
world didn't catch it. They're waking up now, but everything was a photo op. There's so
Yeah.
many movies of my father and my mother and me. It was all our Secret Service, the shadow government doing all these to build my father up and everything. But I want the biggest photo op. I want the news media to take notice. I want this book to be number one. If this book can be number one, it's going to get noticed. They can't deny a number one book. And then once it's noticed, I can be the voice and I can demand things from our government and I can demand them all to resign.
Well said. Well said. Thank you. Okay. So you're going to get attention by going with this picture on the trailer and having, let's say, a million people at this event. It's going to get
Oh,
some attention. It's going to get your story out there, which is what we need, you know?
you
And
know, the news media is a regime now. It's all corrupt, and we're finding out the hard way. There's so many examples I could use of how corrupt they are. Um, we need to we need to stop the regime
yeah,
from enslaving us. And we were talking about the middle class. I lost my whole entire family. I'm sure I've even talked to some people that say they're my cousins, my distant cousins, and things like that that weren't directly involved. But I lost my entire family from these people. By 1975, I thought they were all dead and gone. Um, the worst time of my life when you think your whole family's been murdered.
Right.
But they do it to steal. Money is their objective. Power is their main objective. If they can have power, they can keep stealing. They can keep killing. That is their main goal. If you're middle class and you don't think you got a problem and you don't really give a shit, you better give a shit because they're coming after you too. Eventually, they want everything we got, every single thing that's worth a buck. And
Right.
that's what I'm trying to get out to this world. They want it all.
They do want it all. First, they want your guns, and then they're going to have complete power over the common person. Okay. They've already got a lot of power over us just by putting whatever they have on TV. Like everyone's watching, they're being programmed over and over and over and over and over, and putting their fake news out on TV, Google, whatever it might be. The headlines are not even real, but they're saying scientific studies, and people don't read, more than a sentence or two, and then they believe what they've read. So people have been tricked and it's ongoing. So it's hard to wake people up that way. Um,
Um, our
yeah,
armed services, um, they're put in place to protect us. We, the people, though, we, the people, we have the right to start a militia. It's in our Constitution. But we, the people, are the biggest army, and we are the biggest protectors when it comes down to it. Um, we really are, and we need to unite. Their system is made so we don't unite,
right,
but we, the
exactly.
people, need to unite.
Yeah,
They have put this regime in power. People aren't awake to it. People, I get so many comments. Well, why don't you just go to the news? Why don't you just come out? It's not that easy. People need to wake up. They don't want me to come out.
right.
This is a huge achievement right here. It's huge. Just people seeing this right now, they don't want it. You know, just me being alive, it's a huge achievement. They don't want me alive. I'm exposing these criminals. It goes all the way up to the presidents and their crime ring. They don't want me alive, but I'm
Right,
here and I'm
right.
sharing. This is probably the most important book you can read. Wake up and let's take our country back from
Right,
these evil ones.
right.
They don't want to expose that they killed my loved ones. They don't want to expose they're covering me up right now. And I can't do it myself. I need your help. But check out the reviews on Amazon, please.
Yeah, yeah. So in the description of this video, we'll have a way to send your letter to John. We're going to have, if you feel called to donate, there's a Cash App and a Venmo link, and also his YouTube channel. And you're also on TikTok still, John, right? So you can
I'm
follow.
on. Matter of fact, I'm on TikTok. They're kicking everybody off. Anybody that shares my story, they kick them off to kick them to the curb. Um, I was doing a live last week. They kicked me off. I appealed. They brought me back. They kicked me off again. Wouldn't give me an appeal. I've been sitting here all week not being able to do a live on TikTok, but they're kicking everybody off that shares my stories.
Yep.
Um, they don't. Somebody must have paid them some big money or something to let them know not to be sharing my. But they're cracking down. I have 43,800 followers on TikTok. On TikTok, there's like 5 fake accounts popping up of me. I don't know how they're doing it. They got my same username and everything, but there's like 5.
Yeah.
And last time I looked at one of them, it had 30 some odd thousand followers, and it's not
Right.
my account.
Right.
I'm getting close to a 250,000 likes, though, which
Right.
is awesome.
So one thing we should mention right now is that John will not be contacting you directly to ask for money because he has been doing that. Well, an imposter has been doing that, asking people for money. And they've been in certain groups. They know what they're doing. Okay, so it's on purpose. John isn't asking for money other than your, um, you know, kind donation. He's not going to go and email, text, or message you in any way that is an imposter because there are all these fake accounts out there now, right?
Yeah, even the West Coast Wizard that's pretending to be my stepbrother that took my identity. He has so many accounts asking these people about their finances. When somebody asks me, "Hey, have you heard about this financial thing?" I
Yeah.
delete them.
Yep.
I'm not here to talk over my finances with them, but I just delete them. But they're doing the same thing. Maybe it's part of that ring, but people have been telling me these people have been asking them about their finances. I won't ever do that. If you find it in your heart to donate $1, you're much appreciated, but I'll never ask you for that
Yeah.
dollar ever.
It's a well-organized scam. Okay. And that's what, again, your story shows a very well-organized, systematic approach, not only to affect your lives, but so many others. So in the book, you've mentioned you've seen over 80 murders, eyewitness accounts of murders. And you lost count after that, which is mind blowing. But think of how much influence the dark side has had over these people's lives. They've put imposters in Hollywood, imposters in government, in entertainment, all over. And of course, we've been innocent for the most part until recently. We had no inkling this was even going on. We didn't even know this was a thing until recently. Look what they've done to people's lives.
I really messed with my head back, and this was years ago. I did that. One night I just laid in bed and I was thinking of all the murders, and I was counting on my fingers and my toes. I ran out of fingers and toes, and um, I lost count after I believe it was around 80. And
Yep.
then I didn't want to count no more. But the shadow government would bring me. I don't know how or why it was done. I believe it was because they could get away with murder if I was there. That's what I believe. I had some kind of power within government, being the son of our former assassinated president. But if they were going to take someone out, they wanted me there. So I saw a lot. A lot of it was organized crime members, the mafia wars, people being killed. A lot of it was people trying to kill me. If somebody wanted to kill me and they were in the process of trying to kill me, they would be eliminated.
Right.
Um,
Right.
I saw many things. So yeah, some of those murders I question all the time, probably every day. Some of them I don't even give the time of day, especially when I remember somebody pulling a gun up to my head before their brains were splattered all over my side of my face. So when I remember things like that, it doesn't bother me. But there's a lot that do bother me. But if somebody loses their life trying to take my life, I pay it no mind. I really don't.
So in that case, it was probably Wayne that shot them or somebody protecting you. But yeah,
Yeah.
you were in an impossible situation. You just needed to survive, and you were told and shown so many things, and it bounces around so much. No wonder you were confused. You didn't know who to believe, and you felt betrayal your whole life. And
Yeah, especially when I was young and they were talking
yeah,
about even I'm talking when I was very young, them talking about owning me like a
yeah,
slave. And this is the people in our shadow government, they think they can own a human being and they do.
right.
Um, but the other time was in Calaveras County when um I had a mask on and gloves and I'm digging through the dirt looking for bone fragments, putting them in evidence bags. And Wayne was telling me, "You're looking for your sister's remains.
Ooh,
That's why you're here." So I'm sitting there in the dirt putting bone fragments, thinking it is my sister. And then when Wayne took me to the FBI surveillance vehicle that was off away from the scene, but they were sitting there with their monitors and their headphones on. And Wayne told me, "I want you to confess to murder to them." So I walked into their surveillance van and I told the passenger, there was one in the driver's seat and one in the passenger seat. I said, I committed murder. I need to tell you about the murder I committed. They said, don't worry about it because we own you. You're ours for the rest of your life, is what they told me. That's how these people are. That's what we need to get rid of.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. Well, you probably had like some sort of a organized crime diplomatic immunity. And like you were being protected by various factions, and there was a lot of betrayal and just twisted up stuff happening. But it's my opinion that nobody should be above the law, no matter what their office in government, politics, any corporation. If they do wrong, they've done wrong, and they should be punished accordingly. But look at what they did to you. They made you walk in and confess something you didn't even do.
I might have, though. Being under MK Ultra, I might have.
Yeah. Okay.
But the games they play, too, when you're under MK Ultra, I even asked Wayne about it one time, and I don't remember even what the thing was. But I was like, where do you get all these bodies from? And he was like, the morgue.
Uh-huh.
But then I was all and one thing they did to torture me is where they cremate the bodies. Wayne used to do this to me. He used to have me crawl in where they cremate the bodies and lay there. Now you don't think that is because all they have to do is flip that switch and you're toast. But he used to freaking have me go in there, and that's one way they get rid of the bodies. They just legal like flip the switch and your ashes. You don't have to dig a hole out in a field somewhere or cut up a body. They'll just burn you up in a, or they'll send you to the hospital and then they'll kill you illegal like. There's so many ways that they've gotten so big they can kill you. Let's say legal like, where they don't have to say it was murder. But yeah, that was thinking about that over and over again. That's just torture right there.
As you talked about it, my heart rate went up to 1,000. Like my anxiety level went way up. I
But yeah,
can't
he used to
imagine.
he this happened more than once, but he would tell me to get my ass in there. I'd crawl in there. I don't know how long I'd be in there. Sometimes maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours. But then he'd open up the door and say, "Get your ass out now."
What do you, and so that obviously messed up, psychologically, that's torture. Okay. What do you think the purpose of that was? To make you obedient?
That too make me not fear death. Even in the military training, they would tie me to a pole, just tie me to a post outside. But before that, they would make sure I was awake. If I started to fall asleep, they would slap me. They would keep me awake for days at a time. But yeah, they would take me out, tie me to a pole, and then they would have people with guns come up and actually shoot me with blanks, thinking I was going to be executed. And then they would walk away and I'd get untied. Many things like that. That's part of the black ops training. I know I went through much of it. Um, a lot of it so you don't fear death, I guess.
So you're not the only one that's gone through that kind of training. So the elite military soldier guys, they have to go through that kind of training.
Well, when I was waterboarded in Guantanamo, I didn't know what was going on. I had no clue. They didn't tell me they were going to waterboard me. These guys, when I was there, these guys grabbed me. They threw me on a board. They started waterboarding me. I was like, what the fuck? That water going up your nose burns like hell. I had no clue they were going to do this. So after they did this to me, sticking my head in a bucket of water and everything else upside down, they untied me. And I was like, what the fuck was that all about? Because that's hardcore shit for no reason. And they told me, if you want to waterboard somebody for information, you got to know what it felt like.
Maybe, maybe not, but
But that's what the answer I got was.
yeah. Wow. Well, I think the average person watching this doesn't really have a clue what kind of stuff happens. I don't. I've lived a very sheltered, happy life. So, wow, wow.
When
So
we
yeah,
talk, there's all kinds of stories that go through my mind while we're
yeah,
talking,
yeah.
and I think maybe I should share it. And then it's like that's pretty gruesome. I don't think I will. But there's so much crazy stuff done by these people.
Well,
Absolutely crazy.
anything goes here, and if you want to share it, this is the place for now. Again, it's always been my opinion that you've been saved for a reason. Okay. And I'm pointing, to heaven, if you will. You've been saved for a mission. You've got a greater purpose. And all of your suffering, unfortunately, has made you stronger, but it's for a reason because you're here to expose all of this to the people. That's your job.
Yeah, I could dwell on it and say, I could have been killed there and here and all the
Yeah.
plane crashes and I think maybe they wanted me dead a lot of those times because I don't know how I'm alive. I know my body's battered bad. Um, I don't like to admit it, but I've been through hell. My body's been through hell, but I'm still talking. I'm
Yep.
still being able to share my story. God wants it out. We're gonna get it
Definitely.
out. Um, it's evil versus good, and I'm on the good side. I feel I'm on the good side, trying to help others. Um, and I think I can help many by the time I go talk to Daddy.
Well, you're going to see him sooner than you think, and not in a bad way. So no fear. But I believe that's your mission here is to bring all this, like you've gone through a great ordeal, a 60-year, never-ending ordeal. You never know what's going to happen next. You've been betrayed. People have been switched out. Like you don't even know what to believe anymore. But you've witnessed all of this, and those stories are going to come through. You're going to have a crisp and clear memory, and everything is going to come out. Big story, big story.
Yeah,
So it takes a lot of strength and a lot of courage to go through what you did. And I know this doesn't do justice, but thank you. Thank you for bringing it out.
well, that means a lot. It really, really
Yeah,
does,
yeah,
especially with all the hater comments and things we get,
yeah,
and um, just for trying to help others.
yeah,
Um, it's crazy, but we're up against a lot of enemies
yeah.
um, that have been making a lot of money and wealth and power, and we're taking them all down. We will.
That is true. That is true. Now, do you want to tell any specific stories, or should I ask you a couple questions?
You can feel there. A whole bunch just went through my head, um, but it was all about death and killing, and I was like, I'd rather not. Let's talk about something good and
Okay, well,
uplifting. And
we'll be lighter and fluffier than we were. Okay. So, so question is, have you met RFK Jr. in person as an adult?
I was in my young teens, I believe. The last time I saw him, he was being under control by Wayne or CIA. Um, I don't remember actually how old, um, but I would not vote for him. I think he might have been switched out. Um, the Native Americans are all supporting him, and all I got to do is tell them, "Wake up! You've been lied to by people, by our government, and do your research before you back somebody like RFK because he might be a fake, somebody that stole someone's identity just to work for the shadow government to screw us all
Right.
even more."
Right. Thank you for saying that. A lot of people, they don't have choice when they've got they're a double. They're in a situation. They become
Oh,
a
it's live or die.
yeah,
It's live or die.
yeah. They become a handler or they become handled or they don't make it through. So a lot of these people have to do what they have to do. And we can understand that it's a very sad and upsetting situation. But some of them choose the dark side for fame and fortune and all the wrong reasons. Now, once they get in, they can't get out. And that is
There
sad.
was a there was a video of RFK. He was asked, "Is John Kennedy Jr. still alive? If so, touch your nose." And he touched his nose because he knows I'm alive. He knows the real one, on the real one, but he knows the one that was his. Anyway, they're all fakes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but
He
he,
knows.
he knows.
Yeah. But
He
see,
knows the real story.
he can't acknowledge you, nor can he contact you or anything like that. He's in a situation, he's been switched out, as have many of
Yeah.
them, right? Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
I tried to get a hold of him. I called his law office. I sent many messages. I got on his campaign site. I tried to get a hold of him through there when he first started coming out, and even before. And I finally got a response. This is on Messenger, so it could be all bullshit, with all the trolls and fakes and bots and everything. But I got a message from him, somebody claiming to be him on Messenger, and I said, "Hey, we really, really need to talk." And I said, I'm the real John Kennedy." And the message I got back from him was, "Prove it, asshole." That was quote. He called me an asshole.
Yeah.
But if he was really blood, he would have at least wanted to chat for a minute to find out what I was all about.
Yeah. If somebody contacted me like that, I'd be like, oh, like I don't think they're who they say, but I'd like to know more. There's a curiosity there that he didn't show, right? So it might not have even been him that wrote that answer, but yeah.
Well, it's like me. I got people coming to me in messages. I got 400 unread messages now on TikTok alone. I don't use Messenger very much, except for a couple people that I know. Um, hundreds of unread messages. But I get messages from people saying, "Hey, I'm your third cousin down the line," or this and that, and I don't take that lightly. If I got blood family out there, we're gonna have a barbecue on the White House lawn
Right.
someday.
Right. So a couple things I wanted to address as long as we're here. Okay. I've gotten a few messages about, that from haters. Okay. And basically they're saying, well, you should have been able to get Social Security or you should have gotten this or that, and blah, 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 blah. So let me just say it this way. His legal identity is still David Quigley. Okay. So that's what, if you make a check out to him, that's who you're going to make the check out to. Okay. So your real birthday, you are 63 biologically, but your legal identity's birthday is 6 years younger. So you don't
Yeah, I think
qualify.
I'm. I think I'm 58 by that birth certificate, but actually I'm 63.
Right.
That's what I'm fighting for so bad. Um, they took that name away from me at a young age. So when the Quigleys took me to get my Social Security card at a young age, I was fucked. Um, when they gave me the
Yeah.
fake birth certificate, I was fucked. So now I got, I was a teenager. I had a Social Security card so I could do odd jobs, and I had a fake birth certificate. My legal name disappeared. It's
Right.
gone now. And it was that simple of the Quigleys taking me to the Social Security disability office, and our government agents handed me somebody else's birth certificate.
Right.
And I became that person. It's that easy, just to let these people know about the child
Yeah.
trafficking, the handlers. It was that freaking easy. One fake basic birth certificate to a child, and they got a new name. They're a new person now. That's exactly what happened to me. And the
Yeah.
age difference. The Quigleys wouldn't give me a birthday party forever. All these other kids in the neighborhood, they were all having birthdays. Like, how come I don't ever get a birthday party? It's like, oh, you had one 2 years ago. What are you worried about?
Yeah. Wow. So I just wanted to explain that on video so people knew, like, um, you know, you have a legal identity, which is not your real one, but that's what you've had all these years. And it's like he said, easy to get that. We read about it in movies and books. People get these identities all the time. Well, it's done all the time. Now, not by us guys, because we wouldn't know what to do, right? But the people in government know how to do this.
When I was first placed with the Quigleys, I believe it was Goleta, California, we lived in, by Santa Barbara. But on the wall, they had my brother Max's picture at a park. They had my sister Deborah's picture at a park. And then they had my brother Richard picture all on the wall where they were at the park, with the little tree and a little spinny round Ferris. It was a little park,
Yeah.
community park. And I was like, how come my picture's not up with their picture? So right away, I felt left out, but they actually hired a photographer, took me to the park, took my picture so it could go up on the wall, and now we were the whole family. It's
Hey,
it's
here's a
and they
question.
got away with it. The world didn't notice. They just didn't notice.
Were the Quigleys, we'll call it loving to their own children,
Well,
or more normal, let's say, than they were to you?
at first, it's almost like the Quigleys got switched out. I remember Dorothy Quigley throwing everything they owned away because they didn't want somebody to bring something up like a grandfather clock in the hallway for conversation. But they did things to cover their ass. They were nice to me sometimes, um, and acted like they loved me sometimes. But for instance, my brother Richard, and I was pretty young when this happened. Um, he had a friend, and I believe his friend became an FBI agent. But anyway, they wanted to go smoke some weed or go do something, and I was just a little kid. Um, the parents were gone. Max and Dorothy were gone, so it was just me and my brother at the house. But him and his friend wanted to go do something, so I wanted to tag along. I wanted to be the little tag along and see what they were doing. They didn't want me tagging along because they were probably going to go smoke a cigarette or some weed or something, young teenagers do. So there was a lamp post right out front of the house. It had the bar that goes between it and the lamp on the top. They literally tied my arms and feet so I was upside down, hanging by rope from this lamp post so I could not follow them. And I sat there, and I don't know, cars were driving by. I guess they didn't notice me hanging up by this lamppost. Max and Dorothy got there. I was in pain because I was hanging by my wrists and my feet. Max and Dorothy got there. They cut me down, brought me in the house. Richard, my brother, showed up. Um, I got beat, but with a 2x4 over the ass because I was told I shouldn't have wanted to follow my brother and his friend.
Oh,
So I got a whooping with a 2x4 board on the ass by Dorothy Quigley. Um, I
God.
remember the things that went on at the Quigleys late at night when I was just young, where I was crying for them not to hurt these children. Um, and then they would come in my room and slap the shit out of me and tell me to quit crying. But I was crying uncontrollably because I heard these kids screaming. Um, but yeah, so good and bad.
Horrible, horrible. And like I said, you never know what to expect. So you must have
So
been constant
one
anxiety.
night they're making children scream, making me cry, and the next minute we're going to church to be the happy family. And I can't stress it enough. That's how these handlers get away with it. They hide in church. They use God to protect them from being exposed for the evil ones they really are. And I believe it even says that in the Bible. It tells you they'll go and hide in the church.
Right.
But that's my testimony, and it's so real.
Very sad. I'm so sorry you went through all that. And I can't imagine getting hit by a two by four. Those are pretty solid.
Yeah,
Pretty,
my ass was sore for a few days,
yeah. Wow.
but the point was I didn't do nothing.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think trying to follow my older new brother and his friend was a crime punishable by a whooping with a two by
Yeah.
four.
Punishment didn't fit the crime. Um, When we were first logging onto this call, we were talking about some more fun things. And I was talking about how Hitler had his guys going around the world looking for artifacts, okay? And Hitler was trying to, and the whole regime, they were trying to collect artifacts and occult power. And there are a lot of artifacts out there that have this supernatural power. And they knew it. And they wanted to control it themselves. And we were just talking along those lines. And you said you had actually dug for some of these artifacts way back when. And I thought maybe a lighter and fluffier story would be a good change.
Um, Actually, when I was young, that was one of my favorite things to do. Being on Aristotle's yacht and traveling around and with Wayne, but they were always searching for hidden tombs and treasure. And it wasn't so much for the treasure, I believe, but for the technology that
Right.
was buried um, from thousands of years ago. I've showed my ancient crown that still blows my mind to this very day. I stopped studying it because every day I would find out something new, and I'm not intelligent enough to put it all down. I wish I was. I wish I had a college and a whole team of people just studying it. And I'll grab it here. But this simple little thing right here,
Right.
it looks like an old pot that would hang on the wall. The technology in this is above my knowledge because it's putting so much out. Um, I believe it was the crown, 2,500 years ago, probably the crown. If you look at ancient pictures, they had a crown shaped like this on their head. But from every line to every dot on there's dots,
Yeah.
and then there's lines, and the shape of it, the disc shape is like a UFO. If you know the technology on a computer, it started with a disc shape. The information would go around and then come down. But the little plaques, these little plaques, that's got some missing, and I wish it didn't. But these little plaques, like this right here, it bounces off the light. The light will actually bounce off the little. Let's see here. These little dots, and
Yep.
then the lines, and it will bounce. The light will bounce off of these little gold plaques, and the images will change. So if you light a candle and put a candle here and take a picture of those little plaques, and then you put a candle here and then take a picture of the same little plaque, the image will totally change. Um, for example, this plaque right there that my finger's on. If you look, it's grape, it's leaves, it's fruit, it's leaves and fruit. But if you look at it, it's two people. There's a king and a queen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right there's a face. There's a face. They're looking at each other. That's a king and a queen looking at
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah.
But if you take a different picture of it, you'll see an angel. you'll see Medusa holding a head up in the air. But a candle will make that image change into an angel with big wings. And it's as simple as fruit, it's fruit and leaves. But at every angle with a different, you'll see something different. And they're all different. These little sea dragons, that's a Greek sea dragon on the side there, is what you call it. But it's actually a snake. This is a mouth. This is a mouth, and it's like a crocodile eating a mouse. It's like an alien holding a globe up. But if you start taking pictures with a modern day camera, you'll see something in every single different photo. I started writing them down, just the animals that's in this right here, from a lobster tail to right here.
Yeah.
There's so many different. I mean, this right here is an owl. If you look where I'm pointing at that angle, it's an owl. But this was on my table. I had a glass of water next to it. I had candles next to it, and it made a freaking hologram of the god Athena. The god Athena was floating as a hologram on top of it. So I know we had holograms 2,500 years ago. Now, where did we get our technology to make holograms? I mean, you see holograms now, Michael Jackson on stage. It's not Michael Jackson on stage. So all that technology we got was probably around 2,500 years ago. And not to get all religion in there, but this made me think many, many times, if they had holograms 2,500 years ago, they could have made Jesus walk on water.
Well, it is a
Just food for
technology that
thought.
it's a non-mechanical technology, which is something we often talk about. Like I talk about that with King Smarty. It's out there. We just don't know how to use it, right? We've forgotten the knowledge of how to use it or what it's there for. Super, super interesting. So tell us where you got that again, if you will.
Actually, I was made to clean it. I was on Aristotle Onassis's island. There was two of them. The other one, maybe three of them, because I'm going back to when I was 12 years old. But Aristotle and his men were around him. They had me dump the ashes out of this one or one like it into a pot. And I was told to clean it. And at that time, I was told that was my grandmother's ashes that were in there. And that was her urn. And I was supposed to clean it. Um, it was later brought into the house, and Jackie had put a plant in it. Um, but there was two on each side. But yeah, it came from the family tomb on Aristotle Onassis' island.
Wow.
Um, the last time I seen Wayne in Pennsylvania years ago, well, not the last time, but um, I went to the flea market. Wayne was standing on a hill, and I looked at him. I was going to walk up and talk to him, and he shook his head like, "Go away. You're not. We can't be seen together." There was a table on at the flea market stand, and I seen it there. And I asked the lady, "How much is this? I got to have this." She's like, "Well, I haven't done an appraisal on it. I don't know." And I was like, "I got to have it. Give me a price." She was like, $35. I was like, "I got to have it." So it was left there for me to find. Um, but that's always how that's our Secret Service will leave things for you to find like that. Um,
And you said
I've been taught
you said you had buried it to keep it safe so nobody could get it.
in 2013 they
Yeah.
killed me and I was basically homeless. Um, I dug a 3 foot hole. I wrapped it up in garbage bags and buried it. Um, Might have been before 2000, but it was right in that time zone. Um, so yeah, I didn't have to keep an eye on it. I knew where it was. I put a rock on top of it. where I could always come back and get it. But yeah, I buried it for,
Yeah.
I don't know, about a year or so. Um, I was actually, somebody sent me a clipping. There was some veterans. I had an art store, and I was trying to share my art and the crowns with the world. I wasn't coming out as John Kennedy, but I was getting to feel like, hey, I got these ancient crowns. But this veterans magazine um, did an article on me, and it was in their little veterans magazine. It was just a little local veterans magazine of, hey, David Quigley's got this art store. Come check it out. He's letting people share their art, and I was donating art to the community that I would make and things like that. But somebody sent me that the other day. I'd been trying to find it because all that stuff got stolen, left behind, all my information. Um, but they sent me a thing. It was in the Sierra Star newspaper, and I'm sitting there with a suit on, my long hair, holding my crown, and the newspaper actually did an article on me, the local newspaper, and I had no idea they did it. I know the Veterans Magazine did it, so it's like kind of like they got the article from the Veterans Magazine and then put it in the Sierra Star newspaper.
Very interesting. Super interesting, isn't it?
And that
Super.
article was from 2011.
Yeah.
And I found out how awful hard it was to try to run a business in a small town. God, I was living at the place, um, sleeping on the floor. I would get up at sunup, sweep the floor, get ready, stock the shelves. On weekends, I was going down buying things from the flea markets and guys that I could sell, buy something for $1, sell it for two. But and it was just to pay the bills.
Yeah.
Lucky to have enough for a Big Mac. But it was fun. I gave it my best shot until I believe I was poisoned.
Right. And then you went in the hospital or whatever, and that business like went downhill. Wasn't it wiped out or
Yeah.
something? Yeah.
Somebody took it over. The landlady's like, please, we enjoy you here. Stay here. You don't even have to pay us rent. And I was like, I can't. So so I couldn't pay the rent. Somebody else did it. But yeah, then in 2013, they killed me in the hospital, messed me up real bad.
Now, is that the story you told us a couple videos where you had all the punctures in your chest and they had burned you
Oh
and
yeah.
they wouldn't let you out? You were kind of like in a back room.
Yeah, same story. In 2013, I went in for what was a hiatal hernia. I had acid reflux, and I came out, staples all over, more holes than was supposed to be there, holes in my lungs. I believe they poked my heart too, but they went in there and went crazy. Um, they didn't want to admit it for the insurance, so they hid me out. They only billed insurance for a couple days when I was there for a week. The doctor didn't want me to leave after a week, and I said, you motherfuckers are going to kill me. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was thinking the only reason why they want to keep me here is to finish me off. So I bolted.
Yeah. So it's just another example of how many times you have skirted death. Like you've died, you've been shot at, all these things have happened, and yet you're still here, you
The
know.
cover ups are crazy, though, how they cover it up. We really need to change our medical system. I had paddle marks, burns from the defibrillators on my chest. And I had asked the doctor, why do I have these square paddle burn marks on my skin? And they were like, that's just dirt. I was like, well,
Yeah.
why don't you freaking wash it off then? For God's sake.
Yeah. 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 So back to the artifacts. You said you had been all over digging for artifacts. And what we were talking about is that when something was found, people would come and take it before the news people would come and arrive to show what was discovered. So people have
Yeah,
taken artifacts for years and years and
a
years.
good example was in
Yeah.
Greece in the 70s. Huge discovery. Alexander the Great's father, King Philip's tomb was found. They were hoping to find Alexander the Great's tomb. I believe I know where that is. I actually do believe I know where Alexander the Great's tomb is buried, and there's probably more treasure there than you can imagine. But I think I figured it out. I believe I've even been to the site where it is. Maybe someday I can check it out. But what they do is the families of the rich, they put in this money to excavate the site like they did with King Philip's tomb in the 70s. When they open it up, when they get the discovery, the family members get a treasure from there before they go in with the cameras. So everybody that donated gets a little piece of something of ancient history. Um, but that was done with King Philip's tomb. Um, I was actually on the site a couple of times. Wayne was in charge of doing the restoration. I was actually on the site with the guy in charge of the archaeology in Cairo in Egypt. Um, it's all it's all connected,
Yeah. Yeah. So
but they get what they want.
yeah, it's a real story. They go take whatever they want, and then the news will report such and such is found, but then that's taken to a museum or wherever it goes, private collections or whatever. So just an interesting thing to think about because, there's artifacts and there's been civilizations here long before we were here, and they've had so much technology and, you know, interesting inventions that we don't have yet. So it would be so good if we, the people, could take advantage of that knowledge,
There was a general um,
yeah,
that was involved in Alexander's tomb. He was a general in the Greek army,
yeah,
and I had contacted him. He doesn't speak that good of English, but this was years ago when I first came out. It's like, hey, I'm John F. Kennedy Jr. He basically blew me off and told me he didn't have time to talk to me, but he was part right of all that.
mm, yeah. Yeah, and then of course there's probably corruption and payoffs and all sorts of stuff happening there. Yeah, yeah. So for those that want to support John, again, there's a Cash App and Venmo links in the description. There's his YouTube channel, and then you can write a letter and send it to him supporting his cause. He'll be going out to Arlington to put his book on his dad's grave. He's got his trailer that you've been working on improving and getting kind of situated, getting signatures and getting that prepared. And
Yeah, I was
anything
just out.
else?
I was just out there this morning screwing in some cabinet shelves in that
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
It's so hot here in Arizona, though.
yeah,
But yeah, I'm getting that done. If you all got $1 to spare and want to
yeah,
help us try to make this country a better place, it's appreciated.
yeah,
Um, if there's other ways you can help, share, send a letter. But let's make this story world. And if you really can afford it, get the book. It's 20
yeah.
bucks.
The,
I think if you're in Canada, it's 26. Um, but yeah, and while I'm saying Jackie Goldman helped me big time with this. She came to me and said, "I'll help you write your book." She's a ghostwriter out of New York. There's many people with stories like mine um, that have a story to tell. Get a hold of her. You can get to her, message her on Amazon. Stolen Identity. Check out the reviews on Amazon.
yeah, yeah. So anything you can do is always appreciated. He will never contact you directly asking for money. Okay. So please note that because several people have sent me screenshots of their messages. That's fraudulent. Okay. That's not him. All
Oh
right.
yeah, and Dr. Kia Pruitt, Friday,
Friday at 9.
9 Eastern time. Check us out. She seems to be a wonderful lady and willing to help share my story. So we're gonna do this and uh, help share what they don't want you to hear.
Is that going to be live or is that recorded? Do you happen to know?
No, we're gonna do it live.
Live.
I believe
Live
she's
9
got
o'clock Friday.
YouTube, something else, but it's Dr. Kia Pruitt.
Right. Appreciate her doing that. She was watching earlier, so I appreciate that as well. And any help we can get in sending, getting people to read the book, and because that answers the question I get, who is Wayne? Wayne was John's handler. In some cases, he seems like a good guy. In some cases, he seems like a really bad guy. So it's
And
really,
here's the
stories are interesting. Go ahead.
here's the thing with that with MK Ultra.
Yeah.
It's like hypnosis. You can put somebody under MK Ultra, um, or hypnosis. MK Ultra is a deep hypnosis,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you can tell somebody this person's Mickey Mouse, or this person's Marilyn Monroe, or
Yeah.
this person is John Wayne. And under hypnosis, you actually see John Wayne or Marilyn Monroe or Mickey Mouse in your mind. So Wayne was very, very clever. He would have others pretend to be him. So there might be somebody that I don't even know, never met before, thinking they're Wayne.
Oh,
So there's tricks to MK Ultra, and it's a very powerful tool.
right.
So if Wayne was there and Wayne had just put me in a cremator to have me burned up, and I was pissed and came out of there, and I was slugging somebody I thought was Wayne. Wayne,
Wow.
Wayne
Okay.
was sitting there watching things go down.
Okay.
So it's MK Ultra is very tricky. It's very deceiving. You can make people believe anything, but they're the best of the best. So
How?
it might not have been Wayne all the time, but I use Wayne as an example. Um,
All right.
but
That's interesting. How if I was walking down the street right now and somebody was under MK Ultra, is there a trick so I would know that that person was under MK Ultra? Like if I looked at them?
um, you can usually tell by their eyes.
Yeah.
Um, their eyes give it away. They're kind of like in the fog. There was another guy. This was crazy part, but he was under MK Ultra also. And I said, "Hey, Darren, how you doing? How's it going?" And he just sat there staring straight ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
But if you looked at his eyes, they were glossy.
Yeah.
But once he didn't answer me and he was just in the trance, then I knew he was under MK Ultra also. But people like me that have been under it over and over and over and over again, I could be under MK Ultra right now because it's repetitive. You know what I
It's
mean?
it's got to really mess with your mind, haha. But no, you've been psychologically tortured as well as physically tortured. Like just like the betrayal and all of this. It's really mind-boggling. And to do it do it really kind of behind the scenes is horrible. Horrible.
I got a lot of stories to tell. I've learned a lot and
Yeah.
how they operate. Um, I need to take a break though,
All
Sue.
right. It's a good time to log off anyway. Thank you all for watching. We're going to tell more stories next week. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Sue. Thanks everybody for watching. Keep sharing.
Yep. Bye-bye.